everyone! Welcome to the 6th episode of Strange Silver Age. You can call me Cassie Rose, and I'm your host and guide through the bizarre world of Silver Age DC Comics. I guess I should explain what Silver Age means, for those of you that might not know. The Silver Age covers the period of comics released from 1956 to 1970, and it's pretty well known for having some out there stories. Let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if they were smoking something in the writer's room. Today, we're covering Action Comics, issue number 466, released in 1976. Specifically, I'll be focusing on the cover story. You can take the man out of the super, but you can't take the super out of the boy. Wow, that title sure is something. Without further ado, let's dive in. This comic is in the gray area between late Silver Age and early Bronze Age, so we're going to see some aspects of both eras here. Namely, the wackier storytelling of the Silver Age paired with the deeper emotional resonance of the Bronze Age. That aside, the cover makes me laugh. We have Lex Luthor using brass knuckles to punch a child Superman, sending the young hero flying from the impact. The dead bodies of child Batman and child Flash are sprawled out in the background, with pint-sized Flash even draped over some rubble. I turned Batman and Flash into kids and killed them. You're next, Superman. Aw, look at that smile. Lex loves punching children. He's having so much fun. Moving on to the teaser page, the narration box sets the scene. It's 11:55 in the morning. The noontime lunch crowd has started to stream into the Cafe Mocha when they see a crashing blur that appears to be Superman. Child Superman's body is shown slamming into and breaking a table right next to some people dining at the cafe's outdoor seating area. Yep, just another day in Metropolis. Bad as it appears for the Man of Steel now, reader, it's going to get far worse. Find out what it means to say, you can take the man out of the super, but you can't take the super out of the boy. The citizens on the teaser page cry out in shock as they witness Superman smacking into a table. What in heaven's name is that? A meteor? No, it's alive, and it looks like Superman. All right, let's hear the tale of Lex Luthor beating up children. The crowd discovers Superman, but they're confused when they notice he's a child. Apparently, there's also been news reports of a child Batman being spotted in Gotham City, and a teen Flash being spotted in Central City. Must have been a slow news day. Suddenly, Lex Luthor makes his dramatic villain entrance by punching through a brick wall, and he reveals that he's the one behind the de-aging of the three heroes. Superboy attempts to punch Lex Luthor, but Lex catches the punch and uses the energy receptors on his power glove.
I love the power glove. It's so bad.
Lex Luthor gets his evil gloating in, saying that an adult Superman would have been smart enough to notice that Lex was absorbing his strength to turn it against him. But Superboy is just too much of a stupid boy, so he is no match for Lex now. Lex is satisfied with Superboy's humiliation of easily losing in front of all of those people. So Lex flees the scene and announces that Superboy's suffering has only begun. Superboy has to call in sick to work at the Daily Planet, claiming he has laryngitis because he can't show up to work as a child. Of course, Morgan Edge, the corrupt jerk who recently bought the Daily Planet, thinks workers don't deserve basic rights like sick days. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is in his evil lair, engaging in one of his favorite hobbies, thinking about how much he hates Superman. We also get the explanation of why Lex Luthor de-aged Superman, and it's way better than the simple answer of Superman is weaker as a kid. Lex Luthor thinks back to his high school years, when he used to have hair until his lab caught on fire. Superboy blew out the fire, and in the process of saving Lex's life, Superboy knocked some chemicals off the shelf and onto Lex's head. The chemicals turned Lex bald, and he blames Superboy for the fact that he no longer has hair. So, the adult Lex in the present day makes the conclusion that his hatred isn't truly for Superman, but rather for Superboy. In other words, Lex Luthor made a de-aging ray specifically because he really wanted to beat up a child. Superboy realizes that he needs some help, so he meets up with Batboy and the child Flash, and suggests that they team up to stop Lex Luthor and get back to their regular ages. However, the trio of heroes is ambushed by Lex Luthor's jet before they can make any plans to defeat him. Lex Luthor almost immediately vaporizes the child Flash, killing him. Child murderer! Child murderer! Superboy mourns his fallen friend, sobbing as he strokes the ashes that Flash left behind. But Batboy barely seems to have a reaction. Both of the surviving heroes attempt to defeat Lex Luthor to avenge the Flash. Batman insults Luthor, calling him a hairless hotshot. But unfortunately, Lex Luthor vaporizes Batboy too by kicking him with a power boot. Superboy's grief over his dead friends makes him even easier to overpower in a fight, and Lex Luthor shoves his power glove onto Superboy's hand.
I love the power glove. It's so bad.
I can just imagine Lex Luthor laughing and taunting Superboy like, "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?" After enough punches to the face, Superboy must have gotten some sense knocked into him, because he finally realizes that Batboy not caring about Flash's death was suspicious. Superboy comes to the conclusion that Batboy and the child Flash were both fakes, and his real friends are alive somewhere as their adult selves. Get ready, because here's where we take a sharp turn into left field and things really get weird. So, it turns out Superman has only turned into a child because he believes Lex Luthor has turned him into a child. And Batboy and the child Flash were robot duplicates. Wait, so this means that Superman can turn himself into a child if someone gets him to believe he is one? That's a very weird ability. Superman stops believing he's been turned into Superboy, which gets him back to his regular age so he can pummel Lex Luthor. So, my thoughts. The issue was pretty fun, apart from the ending being a confusing and pointless twist. A highlight was Lex Luthor wanting to turn Superman into a child, primarily because he specifically really wanted to beat up child Superman, rather than for any practical reason. As a funny little side note, before the story begins, there's an ad for Hostess cupcakes. In the ad, Batman and Robin use Hostess cupcakes to distract a villainous composer so they can free his captives. I can just imagine the ensuing conversation in prison. So, how do you end up in the slammer? Batman and Robin distracted me with Hostess cupcakes. Wow, man, you're a loser. Thank you for joining me for the 6th episode of Strange Silver Age. Once again, I'm Cassie Rose, signing off for now. I've got some crime to fight, and I'll see you later.